Hi, and welcome to O2 Tara Talks, conversations about one thing you can do right now to stay healthy in your body and mind. And as always, we start with a disclaimer. Today's talk is for informational purposes only. Please consult your practitioner for guidance specific to your situation. And with that out of the way, let me introduce today's guest, Stacy Pederson. And Stacy is a funny motivational speaker who's almost died a bunch. Hi, Stacy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate that. Stacy, can you tell us in one sentence how you help people?
Yes, I help people improve their quality of life by stressing less, adapting to change, and just the skills to overcome.
So pretty much exactly what we need today while we're all trying
Yes.
to
Just
adapt to this really stressful kind of environment that we're living in now. All right, awesome. So then, Stacy, can you tell us what is one thing that we can do right now?
tell yourself that it is okay to not be okay.
Tell yourself it is okay not to be okay. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that, what you mean by that?
Well, we are going through such, as you said, just a really stressful time with a lot of change and a lot of things happening that's completely out of our control. And I feel like there's this push to a lot of people of you still have to stay productive, you have to think positive, you have to do all of these things, and that it's a bad thing to just admit that you're struggling. And I think most of us are. As far as trying to adapt to basically a new normal for a while, most of us, whether we've lost jobs or we're working from home, we're worried about being sick or family members being sick. It's just a lot all at once, and it's too much to process. And I think giving yourself the grace and the permission to say, you know what, this is a lot for me, and it's okay to not be okay.
Oh, I love that because I think that is indeed one thing that isn't coming through enough for us today. You're right. We're all trying to adapt to these external circumstances that are coming on us. And at some point, yeah, we may be adapting well for a while, but then we may get to that breaking point or something. And then if we can give ourselves the grace then to say, it's okay not to be okay. That's a huge thing. I can even just say my daughter is 11 and she's in middle school, and so of course her whole educational experience has been turned upside down, just like all other kids, in the country and in the world probably. And she is like sort of riding this wave where she's like, oh, this is great. We're online. We're doing everything. I get this. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm not understanding. I miss my friends. And I'm saying, you know what? There's a tremendous amount of adjustment that you're doing. So it's okay to feel like that. And that's exactly what you're saying. And I think it's a great message. So can you tell us, Stacy, what would be some roadblocks that would prevent us from being able to say it's okay not to be okay?
I think there's a couple things, but one of them is just that messaging that we're constantly receiving from just so many areas about people saying, push forward, be productive, make the best of it. And it makes us feel bad that we feel bad. Like there's just this weird thing about not being able to express negative emotion. And I think that's super healthy to be able to express that we're not okay. To just kind of release that and give that freedom, because then it has less power over us in the long run. And I know from my own story, I went through just a tremendous amount of loss and change all at once, what so many people are experiencing right now. And I did really try and push and be like, no, I got this. It's okay. It's okay. And then when I finally did fall apart, like I couldn't keep it together anymore, it was so drastic and such a hard fall that I ended up having PTSD and severe depression and so forth. And so this time through, with all of this change and adaption and loss and fear and things being out of control, I personally have just really made it a point to go ahead and let myself feel those things for a specific time. And then like, it's just like a little bit, I get 10 minutes to completely fall apart. And then I'm going to go back and do what I can. So I think just that mindset, or just like, there's almost a shame or an embarrassment if people knew how much we're struggling, that, some people, that I've talked to, they don't want to get out of bed, or they are struggling with anger, or, they're drinking too much because they don't know, they don't have the coping skills,
Right, right.
and they won't reach out for help because everybody else is, being funny or still working and being productive. And just to know that you're not alone, that we're all
Right.
facing that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience of it. And I think in what you said, it is that we can manage a lot for a long time, right? Just as your experience shows. But at some point, we do run out of the ability to keep managing such incredible stress without letting it out, or without releasing it. It's almost like a steam valve. So yeah, I think if we can give ourselves the permission, like you said, to say, hey, I'm not feeling okay, and that's okay, it allows us to release that. And then we can, by getting rid of that negative energy or that burden, or however you want to consider it, it does help us fill up in a more positive, stronger way. So I think that's wonderful. So do you have any, you know, strategies or a concrete tip or something for somebody who may be in the situation of not being able to say that it's okay, or maybe not even realizing it, or I don't know, anything that you might offer a viewer here who is struggling?
Sure, sure. Yeah. I just think that if you are struggling, I just want to tell you it's okay to not be okay, as I said before. Um, but we're such a busy society. Even when we're at home, we feel like we're supposed to be being productive, like with, now many of us are teaching our kids and we're working from home and so forth, and we feel this need to be productive. I really encourage, like, literally giving yourself an allotted amount of time to fall apart. So, and that can look a myriad of different ways. Some people, just exercise really helps them kind of release that. Like if you're having a lot of anger or frustration, being able to just like say, you know what, I need 20 minutes. I need to get okay and
Right,
go
right.
work out, or just to even say, it's okay for me to crawl in bed and take a 20-minute nap and just lay here for an hour. To giving yourself like an allotted amount of time for you and also for your family. And then when the time is up, the time is up. And that forces you to kind of regroup, but just giving yourself the ability to recharge in whatever way that looks for you, whether that's taking a walk or calling a friend or just going and hiding in the bathroom. If you have kids, I do that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, um, to do that. But just, again, just that permission that, I I really believe we really love people who come across very strong and successful. But I think some of the hardest, most strongest things that people can do for themselves that really make them a superhero in a way is to ask for help. And I
Mhm.
think if you are really struggling, then being honest about that and getting help, that takes a lot of courage, more courage than we really recognize or appreciate in people who do.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I do even remember experience myself like that when I was pregnant with my second child, and I was just about at due date, and I still had a bunch of big kind of things that needed to be done, and I just like, oh, like tears and whatever. And so I called a friend and I said, look, I need to get this thing done. Can you do it for me? Which is so outside of my personality to just like say, so directly, this is the thing I need. But it was like this huge weight lifted off of me, and I just felt so much better. Even though I still had other things to do, I felt like, wow, just giving myself the freedom, or the allowance to be able to say, hey, you can call that person up, and if you need to get those tears out, no problem. It's just all part of it. I think that is a huge thing. The other thing I was thinking as you were talking is when we are in this situation, we have stress, we are really, our bodies are producing chemicals, right? We're in our fight or flight nervous system. We're producing chemicals for us to like respond to this stressor thing. And the problem in modern day with that is that we don't have one stressor, right? If you think of like historically, you'd see like, a tiger, saber-toothed tiger running at you, and then you needed those, those chemicals to give you the chance to run away from it. In our modern day, our bodies flood with these chemicals because we have these stressors, and then we sit there. So we don't get to burn off those chemicals. So yes, of course, if we're under stress all the time, we're going to reach a breaking point. And so we really do need to be able to give ourselves a chance to say it's okay not to be okay, and I need to take some time. Like you said, exercise, nap, whatever it is that works for you, and get yourself to kind of, you know, process it, get it out of your, your system, whatever phrase you want to use. But I think it is a key thing to do.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stacy. I really appreciate you sharing your one thing with us, and especially, giving us your personal story too, because I think that really helps people know that it is indeed okay to say, I'm not okay, because you yourself have been through it. So thank you so very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome. Bye-bye.